Visuals. Opens on a grainy, overexposed shot of an empty office chair under the harsh, humming light of a fluorescent tube. The shot is still, lingering for an uncomfortable length of time. The only sound is the low electronic buzz. Voiceover. There is a particular kind of exhaustion that has nothing to do with a lack of sleep. It's a quiet dread that settles in on a Tuesday afternoon. The feeling that you are a ghost operating your own body. You felt it. It's the slow, creeping suspicion that your life has become a script that you are merely reciting. This isn't burnout. This isn't sadness. It's something more hollow. Let's call it the assembly line soul. It's the sense that the unique, chaotic, and vibrant person you are has been smoothed over, sanded down, and made to fit a role that is too small for you. And today, we are going to talk about how to break the machine. Because the key to your escape is hidden inside a nonsense song from a video game nobody played. Visuals. A slow-motion sequence of mundane, repetitive actions, shot on what looks like old 16mm film. A hand stirring coffee, the same way, every time. A finger pressing an elevator button. The rhythmic clacking of a keyboard. The faces of people are obscured or out of focus. Voiceover. The assembly line soul doesn't announce itself with a crash. It arrives in whispers. It's in the way you drive to work and suddenly realize you don't remember the last 5 miles. You were on autopilot. But the scary question isn't how you did it. The scary question is, who was driving? You feel it when a colleague asks how your weekend was, and you give the standard, pre-approved answer. Good, quiet. The real answer? That you felt a strange mix of relief and terror at the vast, unstructured emptiness of it all, remains locked away. Because that's not part of the script. You are diligent. You are responsible. You meet your deadlines. But somewhere along the way, the map of your life, once filled with unexplored territories and question marks, has been replaced by a schedule. A series of predictable inputs and expected outputs. Visuals. A close-up on a calendar from the 1990s. Days are crossed off in a neat, orderly fashion. The camera pans across weeks, then months, all identical. The feeling is oppressive. Voiceover. Here's a scenario. You're sitting at your desk. The clock on your computer screen reads 3:17 p.m. You're staring at an email you need to write. And a thought, clear as a bell, cuts through the noise. I could just stand up and walk out. Right now. Not go anywhere in particular. Just walk, but you don't. Of course you don't. Because you have responsibilities. Because it would be illogical. Because it's not what people do. And in that moment of choosing the sensible path, you feel a tiny, almost imperceptible click. It's the sound of another gear locking into place. The sound of the assembly line moving forward, with you on it. This is the hidden cost of the assembly line soul. It isn't the boredom. It's the forgetting. You begin to forget the person who would have just walked out. You forget the part of you that craves spontaneity, that thrives on the illogical, that finds joy in the pointless. The system doesn't want that person. The system needs the predictable, efficient version of you. And slowly, quietly, without your permission, it will prune away everything else. It's a slow-motion erasure. A death by 1,000 routines. You become a function, not a person. A cog, so perfectly integrated into the machine that you can no longer remember what it felt like to be anything else. Visuals. We transition to blurry, VHS quality footage that seems to be from an old Japanese video game. We see a bleak, industrial factory setting. A lone, simply rendered character stands at a conveyor belt, performing a single, repeated animation. The colors are muted, grays and browns. Voiceover. In 2002, a small Japanese studio released a game called Chulip. It was a strange, surrealist life simulator that was mostly ignored by the world. It's a game about improving the lives of troubled townspeople by kissing them. But hidden within this bizarre, optimistic world is a place of profound despair, the factory. Inside the factory, there is a man. We never learn his name. He stands at his station all day, every day, performing a single, meaningless task. The machine clanks, the gears turn, and his life disappears into the rhythm of the work. But this man has a secret. He has a weapon. As he works, he sings a song. A song with only 2 words. Guttalala Sudalala. Visuals. A close-up on the pixelated character. A simple speech bubble appears with the words, Guttalala Sudalala. The sound of the factory is mixed with a faint, monotonous, but strangely melodic chanting of the phrase. Voiceover. Guttalala Sudalala. It's gibberish. Nonsense. It has no literal translation. It is a sound without meaning. And that is why it is the most important thing in his world. This isn't just a song. It is a complete, self-contained philosophical system. A quiet rebellion fought on the battlefield of the soul. This is the philosophy of purposeful nonsense. The philosophy is simple. When you are trapped in a system that tries to impose a rigid, external meaning on your existence, the only rational response is to create your own, deeply personal, and utterly illogical meaning. You don't find meaning in the machine. You create a meaning that the machine cannot understand. Let's break down its 3 core principles. Visuals. The screen splits into 3 panels, each with a grainy, abstract symbol representing a principle. The text is in a stark, minimalist font. Voiceover. First, the principle of rhythmic defiance. The factory has a rhythm. Clank. Whir. Thud. It's the rhythm of production, of obligation, of control. It's a rhythm designed to hypnotize you, to make you forget you have a heartbeat of your own. The worker doesn't try to stop this rhythm. He can't. Instead, he hijacks it. Guttalala Sudalala. He overlays the mechanical beat with a human one. His song is a form of spiritual percussion. He is taking the tempo of his own oppression and turning it into a backing track for his own private anthem. He is not a victim of the rhythm, he is its conductor. He is saying, you can dictate my movements, but you cannot dictate my music. It is a profound act of reclaiming the cadence of one's own life. Visuals. A slow zoom on a metronome swinging back and forth. Its ticking is steady. Then, a human hand enters the frame and begins tapping a counter rhythm on the table, complex and syncopated against the metronome's simple beat. Voiceover. Second, the principle of the sacred void. What does Guttalala Sudalala mean? Nothing. And everything. Because the words are meaningless, they are a blank canvas. They are a void. The worker can pour any emotion, any thought, any memory into them, and the words will hold it. If he is sad, Guttalala Sudalala becomes a lament. If he feels a flicker of hope, it becomes a hymn. If he is angry, it becomes a war cry. An affirmation like, I am strong, can feel like a lie when you feel weak. It's a command from your logical mind to your emotional self. But Guttalala Sudalala is not a command. It is an invitation. It bypasses the rational brain, the part of you that the factory has colonized, and speaks directly to the soul. It is a mantra without dogma, a prayer to an unknown God. In a world of suffocating labels and definitions, the song creates a sacred space of pure, undefined being. Visuals. A shot of a Rorschach inkblot test. The ink morphs and changes, becoming a bird, then a face, then just an abstract shape again. Voiceover. And third, the principle of internal sovereignty. The factory owns the worker's body. It owns his time. It owns the product of his labor. It has laid claim to every external facet of his existence. But it does not own the strange, ridiculous world inside his head. The song is a declaration of independence. It is a border wall built around his consciousness, and the password for entry is nonsense. The foreman, the corporation, the system itself, they can listen to his song, but they cannot comprehend it. It is encrypted with an algorithm of personal absurdity. As long as he can sing his song, he is a free man in a cage. The system can demand his compliance, but it cannot demand his coherence. And in that small gap, in that refusal to make sense in the way the world wants him to, he preserves the core of his humanity. He remains sovereign of his own mind. Think of it this way: the assembly line soul is a virus that rewrites your internal code to match the code of the machine. Guttalala Sudalala is the antivirus. It is a string of junk data, of pure noise, that crashes the system's program every time it tries to run. It's a glitch in the matrix of monotony. A beautiful, human, liberating glitch. Visuals. The style shifts back to the real world. A stark, minimalist aesthetic. A person sitting in a modern, sterile apartment. The shots are clean and cold. The on-screen text is like instructional diagrams. Voiceover. This is more than a curious piece of video game lore. The philosophy of purposeful nonsense is a practical tool for survival in the modern world. It is the way you reclaim your soul from the assembly line. So how do you practice it? How do you bring Guttalala Sudalala into your own life? Here are 3 concrete techniques. This is not about quitting your job or abandoning your responsibilities. It is about fighting a guerrilla war for your own spirit from within the system. Visuals. Text on screen. 1. Invent your mantra. A hand is shown writing strange, alien-looking symbols on a notepad. Voiceover. Number 1. Invent your mantra. You must find your own Guttalala Sudalala. This is the most crucial step. It cannot be an affirmation you read in a self-help book. Words like success, peace, or power are already loaded with the system's definitions. They are tainted. Your mantra must be pure, joyful, personal nonsense. It could be a sound you like, Joom, Vrel, Shibumi. It could be a word you misheard as a child. It could be a phrase from a dream. The only rule is that it must mean nothing to anyone but you. Write it down. Say it out loud. Feel its rhythm. The next time you are engaged in a repetitive, soul-crushing task, doing the dishes, sitting in traffic, deleting emails, waiting in line, do not try to be mindful in the traditional sense. Do not try to force gratitude. Instead, begin chanting your mantra. Silently, in your head, or quietly under your breath. Don't try to make it do anything. Just let it be. Let it be the soundtrack to the mundane. You are not escaping the moment, you are rescoring it. You are performing rhythmic defiance. Visuals. Text on screen. 2. Schedule micro-rebellions. A daily planner is shown. Among entries like team meeting and submit report, someone has written in tiny letters, stare at a crack in the pavement for 90 seconds. Voiceover. Number 2. Schedule micro-rebellions. The assembly line soul thrives on efficiency and purpose. Your weapon is inefficiency and pointlessness. You must inject small, harmless moments of pure absurdity into your routine. These are your glitches. Asterisk. When you walk to the coffee machine, decide that for 10 steps, you will only step on the lines, not the cracks. While waiting for a file to download, draw the stupidest looking monster you can imagine on a sticky note. Give it a name like Gorbachev the Moist. Choose a secret word of the day. Every time you hear it, you must subtly touch your left ear. These actions serve no purpose. They do not optimize your workflow. They will not get you a promotion. That is precisely why they are so powerful. Each micro-rebellion is a secret declaration of your internal sovereignty. It's a reminder that you are the one running the program, and you can add a line of ridiculous code whenever you please. Visuals. Text on screen. 3. Practice the art of the sacred pause. A close-up on a digital watch. The numbers tick by. Suddenly, an alarm goes off. The hand wearing the watch stops everything it's doing. Voiceover. Number 3. Practice the art of the sacred pause. The machine demands constant momentum. You must learn to create your own voids. Set a random alarm on your phone for sometime in the afternoon. When it goes off, you must stop what you are doing. Completely. For 1 minute. This is not a break to check your phone or plan your next task. That is not a pause, it is merely a different kind of productivity. This is a sacred pause. For 60 seconds, you are forbidden from being useful. Stare out the window. Listen to the hum of the air conditioner. Close your eyes and chant your nonsense mantra. Let your mind be a blank space, a sacred void. You are deliberately creating a gap in the timeline of the day, a moment that belongs to no one and nothing but you. At first, it will feel uncomfortable, even stressful. You will feel the urge to be productive. This is the machine trying to pull you back onto the line. Resist it. That 1 minute of wasted time is the most productive minute of your day. It is the moment you remind yourself that you control the emergency brake. Visuals. The screen returns to the footage from Chulip. We see the player character interacting with the factory worker. The visuals become slightly warmer, less bleak. Voiceover. Does this actually work? Is there proof in this strange fiction? In the world of Chulip, you cannot progress by fighting. You progress through understanding and connection. For most of the game, the factory worker is just a part of the scenery, a looping animation singing his endless song. But the game's secret is that you must learn to appreciate his world. You must listen to his song, understand his rhythm, and eventually, the game allows you to connect with him. To share a moment of understanding. And when you do, the entire world of the game becomes a slightly better, brighter place. The game's logic is profound. The worker's purposeful nonsense wasn't a symptom of his madness. It was the very thing that kept his humanity intact. It was the key that allowed another person to eventually connect with him. His private rebellion was, in the end, a beacon. Visuals. Archival footage of Dadaist artists in the 1920s. People wearing bizarre costumes, reciting nonsensical poetry. A shot of Marcel Duchamp's fountain. Voiceover. This isn't just a fantasy. History proves its power. After the hyper-rationalized, industrial slaughter of World War I, a generation of artists looked at the logical world that had created such horror and they rebelled. They called themselves Dada. They created art that was deliberately absurd, aggressively nonsensical. They wrote poems by pulling words out of a hat. They declared a urinal a masterpiece. They were screaming in the language of Guttalala Sudalala. They were using nonsense to fight a world that had gone mad from an overdose of sense. This is the same principle found in Zen koans, paradoxical riddles like, what is the sound of one hand clapping? These questions aren't meant to be answered. They are meant to break the logical mind, to shut down the internal assembly line of rational thought, and in that silence, that void, to allow for a moment of true insight. The logic is irrefutable. Systems of control, whether social or personal, thrive on predictability. They require you to make sense, to follow the script. The absurd is a blind spot. By consciously introducing a small, controlled dose of nonsense into your life, you're performing a systems check on your own humanity. You are reminding yourself, and the world, that you are not a machine. You are a ghost in the machine. And you can decide, at any time, to start singing. Visuals. Ends on a still, grainy photograph of a lonely, anonymous street corner at dusk in a Japanese city. The lights are on, but no one is there. The shot holds, inviting contemplation. Voiceover. The factory worker's song was Guttalala Sudalala. It was his shield and his secret anthem. A testament to the stubborn, beautiful resilience of the human spirit. So now I ask you, what's yours? What is the beautiful, meaningless sound that will be your declaration of independence? Share your personal nonsense mantra in the comments below. Let's create a global choir of rhythmic defiance. Let's fill the silence with our own, strange music. If you believe that the most important answers are often found in the static between stations, in the forgotten histories and the discarded ideas, then you've found your community. Subscribe to Hello, Yesterday, and join our search. The idea of finding freedom inside a prison is a thread we often pull on. To see how this same philosophy was applied, not by one man, but by an entire society creating a world of their own inside the most densely populated place on Earth, you need to watch our investigation into the Kowloon walled city and the architecture of the soul. It's waiting for you.